Today. We have the latest on Ben Simmons' long-awaited debut for the Brooklyn Nets and what went wrong with the Lakers season. Plus, do they still have a path to the play-in tournament? And we have Scotty Barnes and Marcus Smart joining us up ahead on our show, NBA Today, live from LA, top of the hour.
This just in character. Check out who stole the show at WrestleMania 38 last night. Yeah, kickers and punters may not be football players, but Pat McAfee is a wrestler. You know how I know? He was slamming wrestlers. He was taking a stone cold stunner from Steve Austin. He was getting into it with Vince McMahon. He did the whole thing. Undoubtedly, this has to be his career highlight because it would be the career highlight for really anyone who ever lived. That's it for this Just In. Back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Welcome to NBA Today, presented by Credit Karma.
Coming up on NBA Today, the very latest on Ben Simmons' playing status, what that means for the Brooklyn Nets with only 1 week left in the regular season. Plus, when did it all go wrong for the Lakers? We get into their historically disappointing season and where it all started. And we have the potential DPOY and Rookie of the Year joining the show, Marcus Smart and Scotty Barnes. Don't miss it. NBA Today starts right now. Welcome to NBA Today, presented by Credit Karma. I'm Malika Andrews, joined by two-time WNBA All-Star Shanae Ogumike, NBA champion Richard Jefferson, and senior writer Ramona Shelburne. I want to peel back the curtain just a little bit, all right? Before the show, we all sit in the newsroom and we plan what we're going to talk about. And producer Jaron talks to Ramona. Demetrius works with Shanae. We try all morning unsuccessfully to get Richard Jefferson on the phone. And all morning, we're planning. We had this big, beautiful layout to talk about the Lakers to start the show. And it takes a lot to move the Lakers down. But today it happened. And that's because of Ben Simmons. And here's why. It's been 288 days since this happened. Ben Simmons passed up on a wide-open dunk, and the Sixers eventually lost to the Hawks in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. It was the last time Simmons played in an NBA game. 10 months later, Simmons is a Net, and it seems like his debut gets farther and farther away. So here's head coach Steve Nash earlier today.
Do you think he'll miss the play-in game?
Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say likely now. He hasn't been, he's not running. So yeah, I don't see him. I would be shocked. But I think in this situation, we got to put his health and safety first and make sure that we're certain he's ready to play and contribute. And the other part is he hasn't played basketball. So, what kind of Ben do you get? He hasn't been in an NBA game for, 9-10 months.
We know what he brings to the floor, and my main concern is just getting his back healthy so he have a good rest of his career. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully he's out there soon.
All right, so just to reiterate what Steve Nash said there, he said that Ben Simmons isn't running yet, so it's more than likely he's going to miss the play-in tournament. But Ramona, you've covered this as closely as humanly possible, right? Is it still possible we're going to see him in the playoffs? What's the timeline here?
Yeah, it's still possible. I mean, if they make a deep run, it's still possible. The issue, though, is that he has to ramp up, and this is when he flared up his back injury the last time. So you have to recondition, you have to get back in basketball shape. That's a long process here. He's not even running. And the way you break this down, is when you have an epidural, they tell you to rest for a couple of weeks. Don't do anything, give it a chance to work. So he rested. That was a couple of weeks ago. Now he's going to ramp back up. Now I checked in with somebody very close to Ben Simmons today. Said, would you really bring him back in the playoffs after having not played for 10 months with all that pressure and everything on the line? And the answer I got was, yeah. Like the answer, I know.
Well, I mean, what choice do they have?
What choice do they have? One. And number two, and this is, I thought, a pretty good point. If he just plays the role they need, which is, by the way, defense, which he can do.
Which is an important role for this Nets team.
Right?
What we've seen.
Then that's all the pressure that's on him. And the free throw pressure, which is always going to be there for the rest of his career, it's not going to change now versus a year from now. So I think that's the way they're looking at it. Right. But again, he has to go through an entire ramp-up process, make it all the way through that ramp-up process, which he didn't do last time, and then get himself mentally ready to play again. That feels like a longer process to me than a week or two.
Okay, I'm going to make this really simple.
Yeah.
Richard, big deal, little deal, no deal that he's out through the play-in tournament definitively.
Okay. Just back to Ramona really quickly. You said that there is a chance. What percentage chance would you put that at? What percentage?
That he plays at all this year?
Yeah.
10%.
10%.
Like,
Okay.
I mean, come on, let's be real.
No, but I'm saying hypothetically.
Like if they make a long run
that's
and
what I'm saying.
then
Hypothetically, we've talked about this since.
And by the way, that's
June,
my
and we're gonna
opinion,
put it
not
in-
somebody's
No,
told.
but
But like, come on.
I'm just saying hypothetically, given the information, you're well connected. So when I look at this, is it a big deal? Is it a little deal? We are in professional sports. At the end of the day, professional sports is not for everyone. And I say this respectfully. If you're injured, right, or if your body can't keep up with that, the NBA is not going to change. If Ben Simmons, is struggling with mental health issues, like that's part of professional sports. You know what the bag is when you show up. They pay you a tremendous amount of money to make sure that you can handle the tremendous amount of stress and pressure. Then they hope that your body can keep up with that. Do I think it's a big deal? I think that, one, it's his mental health. That was something that needed to be addressed. And two, it was his physical health that's now needing to be addressed. But at the end of the day, like free throws, whatever, he's got to get himself back on the court, whether it's now or this summer.
Right. All right. So where Ben Simmons will definitely help, right, is on the defensive side, which is a
next season.
Huge.
Which I think was always the plan, by the way, but go ahead.
Right, but it's the clear need. After dropping a career-high 55 on Saturday night, Kevin Durant addressed their defensive woes.
It's the detailed stuff we got to just lock in on and do better. Shots are going to fall. It's a make or miss league, but, we be having guys bottled up, great defense, and we end up fouling right at the end. And, that's if we want to continue to if we want to grow and be a better team, then that type of stuff can't happen. Just bad basketball. To give them points like that, after playing good defense and then boom, we reach. Like, we just got to be better in that area.
Richard, I know the Nets have a sweet spot on your heart, but know if you want to win a championship, the number one thing you have to do is play defense, and this is one area where the Brooklyn Nets really struggle. So let's roll the tape, Kwaku, baby.
Let's roll the tape.
Let's do it. You want to take us through this?
I'll take you through. So look, James Johnson's pointing and talking, right? So now the worst thing you could do is point and not talk. This is what they're doing. This is the Detroit Pistons, one of the worst offensive teams in the entire league.
They're not horrible these days.
They're one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Now, again, pointing, switching, and talking. You saw a simple mess up right there.
Simple exchange.
Now here, you got Seth Curry guarding Giannis. That's not good.
And no help defense.
And no help defense. One, Seth needs to give him space, and then you need to come over and be able to help, but that has to be communicated. Now, again, Drummond, watch this closeout.
Look at this. You can't leave the shooter who, mind you, look, top 10 in 3 points made, and I think he's number 2 in points overall.
And look, I wish we could rewind this because it was like, is anyone going to run out? Is anyone going to run out? This is the thing. We know that this team has the amount of talent that any team would dream of, but they are not a cohesive unit. Is there time for them to kind of get better now that Kyrie's playing full time? Yes, that's the one thing that would give you optimism, but ultimately their defense is far.
Defense is where Ben Simmons would help, but we all know the likelihood of that is not high. The reality is the Brooklyn Nets, they have the 20th worst defense and they're 21st at fouls. And let's talk about that game versus the Hawks. The Hawks had 49 free throws. So if you can't play defense, then you have to be able to get the rebound and force shots without fouling. 30 foul difference. Free throw shooting in that game. You will never win a game with 30 when your opponent shoots 30 more free throws.
When you look at Detroit, when you look at Atlanta 55, when you look at the way they had to play against Detroit, they are struggling to beat even the average team. Anyone that can realistically say they can be a great team for over 7 games, they're
and this is the part, Richard, when Kevin Durant goes for 55, you would expect that they would win, but this did not happen because their defense has been struggling.
Right. So given all of that, here is where we stand in the East, right? The 4 teams currently are the Hawks, the Cavs, the Hornets, the Nets, but seeding could still change, right? On the other coast, though, there is nothing more important than seeding for the Lakers, who have fallen to 11th in the standings. So let's take a look back at their season in review. Strange trip this Lakers season has been, right? It started like a script from Hollywood. Local star returns home to return glory to historic franchise. But the only similarities to the Lakers in Hollywood, it seems, is the drama that followed. So LA entered the season, remember, with the best odds in the West to win the title, second only in the NBA to the Brooklyn Nets. So that's how it started. Here's how it's going. The Lakers, they've only won 4 games. Let me say that again. 4 games since the All-Star break. That includes the 6-game losing streak they are currently in, which has seen them drop from 9th to 11th in the West. And that means the Lakers have only a 3% chance to make the play-in tournament, according to ESPN's BPI. And even though the Lakers and LeBron is leading the league in scoring entering last week of the season. That's 30.3 points per game that he has. This is the first time in his 19-year career that one of his teams finds itself 16 games under 500. So it looks like the Lakers are done for the season, right? But there's still a couple of scenarios that could somehow see them sneak into the play-in tournament. So let me explain what those would be. Listen close. They would need to win their last 4 games and then also hope that the Pelicans would lose their last 4, or they'd have to win 3 more games than the Spurs over their last 4. So again, that's not likely, but technically they're still in the race, aka their magic number right now is 2. I'm sorry, Richard. There's a lot to unpack here with the Lakers drama. There's no doubt this season a lot of things went wrong, right? But when you look back at the season, Richard, what do you think their biggest issue was?
Well, I think when you have a season this terrible, there's multiple things that happen. You have multiple injuries. You had young players that were hurt to start the season. THT, Kendrick Nunn. We've still not seen him.
And you won't.
And you won't.
Yeah.
And I wish him health. But these are guys that were brought in.
You wish him well.
Okay. I wish him well.
I was introduced a W or an H there. I was like, whoa, Richard.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
no, gosh, no, I don't wish that on anybody, right? No. So when you look at the young players, the young players were hurt, kind of early, just trying to get acclimated. Then you have obviously Anthony Davis in and out of the lineup. Then you just there's just a list of things. Everything goes wrong. On top of it seems like there's a heavy chemistry issue with that roster. There's a heavy chemistry issue with the roster. So when you look at players being down, players underperforming, players being hurt, and chemistry issues, what you get is a team that was picked to probably finish top 4 in the league being 10th or 11th in the West.
I see Sinead's over there like taking notes.
Yeah.
Not from what he said, more from my point of
Don't
view.
cheat on my homework.
And we all
She's a
know.
Stanford girl. She takes
why
notes.
Arizona, Stanford. Why would I cheat on your homework?
Yeah,
Okay?
keep your eyes on your own paper.
Look, the thing that I was thinking about as you're making your astute points was the fact that this iteration of the Lakers under Frank Vogel, defense was their identity. And we talked about it when it came to the Brooklyn Nets, but specifically for the Lakers, if you look around the NBA and the top teams, you think about the Bucks, you think about the Suns, you think about the Heat, you think about the Grizzlies, you can say something about each one of their defenses, whereas the Lakers, they did not have defensive buy-in all year long. So much so that the answer was supposed to be Anthony Davis when he comes back. He's our rim protector. So when we, force him, we're more aggressive, he'd be able to stop things. No, they have not been able to stop the bleeding defensively. And I think that's been the biggest issue. It's not just the hardest thing at the professional level to buy in is defense. If you can't buy in on defense, your team is probably not going to do well. And that's exactly all the issues that the Lakers have.
Well, so since the Lakers won the title in 2020, Rob Pelinka has had a mentality, and I think this is the right mentality anyway, of if you're not getting better, you're getting worse, right? Even though you won a championship, you have to try to continue to get better because everybody else is trying to catch you. So they tried something last year, that didn't work. They tried something different this year, and this year's construction was based on the idea that LeBron and AD are injury risk. LeBron because he's 37, Anthony Davis because he's Anthony Davis. No disrespect. He got hurt twice this year. Last year, same thing.
He missed 40 games. You have to prepare for something that can.
So they needed a third star to carry the team when one or both of those players were out. That was actually the correct read.
Yeah.
They did. It's just that Russell Westbrook has not been the right star.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other issue when you look at the roster construction is they play about a 9-man rotation right now. 4 of those 9 players that they play regularly were not on the team to start the season.
Yeah.
Okay, Wenyen Gabriel, DJ Augustine, Avery Bradley, Stanley Johnson. Those are guys they added during the season, which means the way that team was built around LeBron, AD, Westbrook, the players they added at the beginning of the season were not the right players.
Okay, well, we aren't the only people that are talking about the Lakers' shortcomings, right? Let's just real quick hear from Anthony Davis and head coach Frank Vogel after last night's loss.
What could we have been if I was healthy all year, Bron was healthy, K Nunn is healthy. Like, you think about those things, we put this team together, look really good on paper, but we haven't had a chance to reach that potential with guys being, in and out of the lineup. So the most frustrating part about, this season is just not being sure of what we could have been. As long as we're playing hard, there's no moral victories in this league, especially with us. The whole world want to see us lose.
Sucks telling these guys every game, proud of you, good effort. We lost. So it's not fun, but it could be worse, if things were unraveling. Our group has stayed together. They're putting in a good fight. Their attitude has been wonderful in terms of just like working together to get this thing right. And it's just disappointing to come in just keep saying we fell short.
Things could have been worse. How?
Well, look, they haven't turned on each other. And I will be legitimately honest, as much as there's as much media as attention that has been there. And look, there's tussles. We saw a tussle in Miami, right, with Spo and
Udonis Haslem
and
Jimmy.
Udonis Haslem and Jimmy. So, like, to see a little tussle between AD and Dwight Howard. I have seen teams fully turn on each other in these moments. Like, when we say they could be worse, that's the only situation that could be worse. But when you look at this team, at the end of the day, Anthony Davis was supposed to help them defensively. Like, he was supposed to be that guy. But there wasn't a lot of defensive help around Anthony Davis.
Right.
And Anthony Davis has a poor defensive season where in 2020, he was a top 3 defensive player. A lot of people thought he could be defensive player of the year right next to Giannis. Now he's in the middle of the pack when it comes to every defensive analytic. So when your guy that's supposed to carry your defense now becomes a middle of the pack NBA player, your defense is going to struggle.
Oh, not middle of the pack NBA player.
No, middle of the pack as far as his defensive analytics.
Defensive
analytics.
Yeah,
Like, if you look at that, he's like in the middle of the pack, not middle of the pack NBA player.
Okay.
No. But his analytics. So my point is like when you bring all those things together, and Anthony Davis has not been healthy, and I think that's been the number one issue why Russ hasn't played well, because when you see Anthony Davis, you see Russ like
on Sunday afternoon, and whoo-wee, they waxed the Wizards 144-102. It was Boston's third win by 40 or more. That's the most in the NBA. They also have the best record in the league over the last 10 weeks. And now joining NBA Today, fresh off that 42-point win, 2-time all-defensive player Marcus Smart. Thanks so much for joining us on NBA Today, Marcus.
Oh, no problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so 2.5 months ago, Boston was out of the play-in, and now the Celtics are the 2 seed in the East. And when I talked to your coach, Ime Udoka, he said it was just a matter of getting healthy. But there has to be more to it than that. What was the turning point for you all?
To be honest, he was right. That was the majority of the reason. Just really we had to get healthy. Once we got healthy, we were able to really get the chemistry going between guys, because now we got to Florida, able to play with one another. We could see what guys like. We could see where guys were going to get their shots from and where guys needed to be at certain times of the game. So, being healthy helped that a lot.
Well, now you guys are just rolling, but you're the longest tenured member of the Celtics. You've seen the full development, right, of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. How have you seen them make a leap together this season?
Just the way that, their emphasis on, desire to get better. Like each and every day, they talk about it and then they go out there on the court and they're trying the things that they're talking about that they want to get better. They're working on bouncing out of the double teams and, finding guys out of the double teams, finding their reads, when they got that slight window to make a move for themselves and to find for others. So it's been amazing. It's been great. It's been fun, watching those guys grow. It's been fun being a part of the growth with both of those guys.
Well, at what point did you look inward and realize that you had the belief that this group could do what you all are doing?
I mean, for me, I've always known. We always knew we had that potential. It was just getting the right pieces, and it was just clicking at the right time and trying to stay healthy, because through all those times, we weren't as healthy as we are now. So that was really for us. We knew once we got it clicking and rolling, we can do something special.
Well, and one of the reasons that you're able to be doing something special right now is your defense. And now you're the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. Did you know that? What's your case to win the award?
Yeah, I keep hearing that. People... friends, family, and just fans everywhere just keep telling me that. It's crazy to even think of. We understand it's a big man's war. It's been a big man's war, but, it's time for us guards to get the recognition that we long deserve. We do a lot of the hard work as well, not knocking on the bigs and taking from the bigs. It's just, the way that we out there being able to switch 1-3, 1-5, 1-4. In my case, I'm a 1-5 guy. Not everybody's doing it. So the versatility that we have to have on that perimeter and guard most of the guys who are the best player in the leagues are perimeter guys majority of the night. So we definitely have some say-so in this little race that we got for Defensive Player of the Year. It's just we don't get talked about enough.
Do you happen to know the last guard to win Defensive Player of the Year, just off the top of your head?
Just off the top of my head, I'm going to go with Gary Payton.
Yep.
Yep,
1996.
The coach to do it, 1996. You know what I'm saying? I was 2 years old. So, it's incredible to even have my name mentioned, you know, in the same category as his. You know, growing up, you know, as a defender, you watch the things that he was able to do, especially with his size and the tenacity that he had in playing with him. You just try to go out there and you know, implement that to your game as much as you can and bring that same fire.
It's hard to believe it. Time's flying. You only have 3 regular season games left. It is hot and spicy in the Eastern Conference right now. How closely are you watching the standings shake out?
Every 5 minutes, we're looking at it, see what's going on, what's new. You know, it's kind of like when you open the refrigerator, you see nothing's in there. 5 minutes later, you open it again, thinking something's going to change, and it's the same. So we're right there. You know, we're excited to even be, you know, in this position that we're in, especially the way we started the season. You know, it was rough on us, but the adversity that we went through has got us to where we're at now, and hopefully that adversity will just keep pushing us forward.
I would say the difference now in the fridge analogy is you open the fridge and then you see milk and then you open again. It's like, oh, wait, where did the orange juice come from? Like, everything is changing all the time. This is a dangerous game to play when you start to think about, oh, this is who our best matchup may be. But is there a team in your mind that you're like, oh, we can thrive against them, and yeah, we don't really want to face them in the first round?
I mean, not really for us. We just want to go play basketball. Whoever is in front of us, we're going to go play. It doesn't matter. We can't look at it like that. You know, we haven't looked at it like that all year playing because at any given moment, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen, you know. So we just got to continue to keep our streak going, keep our focus, and keep the hot streak that we got going with the guys and try to stay as healthy as we can. And whoever's put in front of us, we're going to go out there and compete.
I think it's it's time to check your fridge. It's time to go check it. I so appreciate you joining us here on NBA Today.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Like, they're only
odds entering Sunday's games. Nikola Jokic, clear favorite, followed by Joel Giannis. That is according to Caesars Sportsbook. So let's take a look, right, at how it all shook out. Starting with Giannis Antetokounmpo, already a 2-time MVP, taking on Luka Doncic and the Mavs. I mean, this is his bread and butter, Richard.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a charge, but look, if you don't get that, big fella, you know what's going to happen next.
Grown man move.
Accidentally monster. And speaking of monster.
But might Luka be sneaking into the conversation?
When you can hit a step back of the defensive player of the year with ease, look at taking his time, working up. Everybody knows the move. And you still can't stop it.
Well, Jason Kidd got his revenge in Milwaukee. All right, let's see who's next. It's Nikola Jokic. So the Denver Nuggets, they were taking on a LeBron-less Lakers team this weekend. And Nikola, I was on the sideline for this one. He was doing it all.
Yeah, no, that's what makes him so special is that he is the offense. He is every single thing. Scoring, assisting, creating, setting up the offense, running the fast break. The dude is an absolute monster.
It was almost a pedestrian performance by his standards, and it was still incredible, right? I mean, finished with 38 points, 18 rebounds, and 6 assists. This man is a walking offensive machine. All right, let's check out Joel Embiid, another candidate for most valuable player. Getting ready to take on the Cavaliers here.
Oh,
what was that pass?
First sport was volleyball, y'all.
I don't know how
that was a nice little
one hand in volleyball?
That was a set.
Yeah.
That was a set.
You used two hands to set it.
Come on now.
And then it's your big man that is enough of an outside threat and has the footwork.
Yeah, Moses Brown, he didn't want any of that action. Look, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they've tried to hold on.
Watch this emotion, though.
Look how close this is, but big man just being big in the right
emotion.
But here's him after the game.
Like I said, it's out of my control. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, I don't know what I had to do at this point. At this point, I feel like, they hate me. The standard for, guys in Philly or for me is different than the standard than everybody else.
All right. No one hates you, Joel. If you don't win, it's not because anybody hates you.
That's not true. I can't stand him.
Oh, I can't speak
joking.
for Richard.
I love you.
I can't stand Richard.
I love you,
so
Joel.
that's a badge of honor.
I'm just joking, Joel.
We have all 3 guys, right? They're amazing candidates for MVP.
Yeah.
It is so close. And Ramona, you have covered Joel Embiid incredibly closely. So I want to start with you here. You've talked to him about his candidacy. What has he told you?
Well, look, he wants to win this award. He wants to win the scoring title. He wants to be the first center to average 30 points a game. Okay, he wants to do because he's a goal setter. But that's how he motivates himself.
Since 2000,
since Shaq 2000. He wants to motivate himself all throughout the regular season, and winning MVP is very important to him. But I think he has, and I think you've seen this over the past since they traded for James Harden, which is he wants to win an NBA title. And when he was in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, he went against the Lakers. He had a bunch of points in the first half. He could have scored, had a big night. They couldn't stop him. And I said, you kind of pulled off the brains there, right? And he said, well, Tobias had it going, and we really need him to get going. And James had it going, and we really need him to have it going. And he kind of pulled back a bit in that game. He still had 30-something and 15 rebounds, okay? But what you saw last night when he had 44 and 17 against the Cavs is what he was doing earlier in the year, which is he was their only option. He was the offense. He was the only guy who can score. And last night they needed him to do that. That was his 11th 40-point, 10-rebound game in this season. Only 2 of those, though, have come since the James Harden trade because he's been trying to get James Harden involved, because he's been trying to get Tobias Harris involved. So do you dock him for being a good teammate?
His goals are trying to win a championship, too. Those are his goals.
Right. But let's just make this simple.
Yep.
Who's your MVP, Richard?
At this moment, right here, right now, my MVP is Giannis Antetokounmpo. And the reason why is because I love what Joel has been doing. His numbers. Jokic, his numbers are outstanding. My biggest issue when I look at the Denver Nuggets, it's the narrative last year. Jokic was outstanding. He was outstanding. He was great. There was no doubt about that. But it was like he's doing this without Jamal Murray and with Porter Jr. hurt and like their team and all this other stuff. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But we can't use that same narrative again this year. And when I say narrative, I mean like 49 of the last 50 MVPs have finished top 4 in their seeding. The one time that they didn't, it was Russell Westbrook, who had that Oscar Robertson 30, 10, and 10. So you rewarded him historic moment. After that, it's like, wait a second, we can't keep, even though they're in 6, and I know that's tough, but Giannis has been the most consistent basketball player on the planet for the last 5 years.
Oh, this MVP award is killing me softly because there are so many worthy candidates. And I think if I'm going off of the logic of you look at a team that's 5th in the West. All right, if you look at the West overall, they have 7 teams with 500 or better records.
Who is it?
Versus you have in the East, you have 10 teams, I believe, with over 500 records. So you can say, if you're the better player in the East, there's a better case for you. So if we narrow it down,
we need a name
from Giannis,
we need a name.
To Embiid. I think it's really fascinating because the numbers are
One name. Done. No more words. Just say the name.
Look,
did you say
no more words.
Let's
just
be
the
real.
name.
The numbers don't lie in Jokic's case.
Okay.
For
All
MVP.
Right. Now I want
But when it comes to MVP, you're right, Ramona. There is a narrative to it. And starting the season, Joel Embiid won that narrative. Other people inserted themselves.
So your pick is Jokic.
All right.
Jokic
is Jokic.
No. I think my pick is Embiid, but I do think
they have it in the graphic.
Wait, did they? Wow, they put me. Why are you trying to sell me out, producer Greg?
Let me be very clear.
Hold up.
Let me just be very clear. There's only one person on this panel who actually matters what they're about to say.
That's amazing.
She's the only one who has a vote.
Yes.
So Ramona, who is your MVP?
If I had to vote right now, I would vote for Joel Embiid. But
thank you.
Okay, if
I
I,
was
had to
trying
vote
to
right
get to
now,
my case for
but
Embiid.
listen, I think right now I can't even. I'm being professional over here.
We're not. Don't worry about us.
I think Giannis has made an incredibly strong
Yes.
closing case.
Agreed.
And that head-to-head matchup the other night where he blocked a shot at the end, that was that moment that a lot of voters. But I always tell myself as a voter, do not be a prisoner of the moment. Do not have that recency bias, okay? When somebody has the Heisman moment at the end, it should be built on a season long of dominance. So what you do when you vote, okay, I want to see where did the Sixers finish in the East?
Yep.
Where did the Bucks finish in the East?
Yep.
Where did the Nuggets finish in the West?
Right. Yep.
Like we need to
Thank you
consider
for
all of
landing
that.
her plane.
But let's.
I was getting there before you pushed me out of the
She's getting
set.
in shape for the WNBA season, and so she jumps over the fence and back over the fence and back. That's how she
what
gets
we
in
do.
shape.
Yeah, she gets to do it.
Look, we have to look. The narrative of Joel Embiid changed. What happened from when he was first in Tim Bontemps star poll after the All-Star break to second in the last one? James Harden got traded to the Sixers, right? Well, James Harden got traded to the Sixers, but James Harden has been okay, pretty good. But I think that swayed a lot of voters on the other side.
Right.
And if you look at the bench points for the Sixers, they have the worst bench in the league. Okay, worst.
Right.
So how much help is Joel really getting? I think it's just different that he's trying to get Tobias going, trying to get James going.
I will say, though, for Giannis Antetokounmpo to win a third MVP, you have to really outdo yourself in order to win it. But the fact that all 3 of you kind of, sort of, except for Chiney, chose 3 different votes, that shows you just how close this is.
Actually, you can just leave him.
The Bulls and the Raptors, they have the same record, so a lot can still change here. We now welcome in Raptors rookie Scottie Barnes. And the Raptors, they're 6th in the East, 7-3 in their last 10 games. And Scottie, you're a huge part of that team's success, your team's success. You're averaging 15 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists while shooting nearly 50% from the field. So how has your versatility helped the Raptors make a playoff push here?
I would say really just doing so many different things on the floor. Me being able to rebound, push in transition, being able to be what our whole team is, really just being able to guard 1 through 5 on the floor, switching, really just doing all these little things on the floor where it helps contribute to winning.
Recently, Kyle Lowry said that you're a special talent. That's a direct quote, and a cornerstone of the franchise. It's another direct quote. And I think we can all agree, right, that Kyle is going to have a statue outside of the arena someday. So what does it mean to you? Yeah, right? So what does it mean to hear a player like that, who has that history with the Raptors franchise, to say that about you?
You could just see that he has a bunch of faith in me. He sees the talent that I have, what I can bring to this organization. Of course, he's been here for so long. He did so many great things for this organization, where he knows how the system is and how the organization is. And he just sees that reflect on me, where I can do a lot for this program and what I can be in the future.
Scottie, you're the first rookie to reach 1,000+ points and 500+ rebounds this season. So given that background, tell us why you should be the Rookie of the Year.
I would say really just besides being in like the top 5 in every category, really that there is, the impact of me just really winning. Always been a winner. I really don't really look for individual stats. I really just try to do those key things on the floor to really just try to help our team win, try to help others succeed, thrive in their positions. So it's really just me winning. Really, it's been a great season. We're still going to try to win more games and try to get into this playoff push.
Richard Jefferson is sitting next to me, and I want to bring him in for this next part. But he just laughed when he said, well, I'm basically top 5 in every category there is.
Look, Scottie, we created a custom commercial spot for ESPN Universal Pictures to promote the movie Jurassic World Dominion coming out in June. What was the experience like working with legends like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and myself? What was that like?
You're not a legend.
No,
Bye.
what was that? What was that like?
No.
Because we had a good time. What was that like?
Scottie, I'm sorry.
It was fun. I would say, of course, you made it a lot easier for me, helping me get through it. Kind of nervous coming in at the beginning, but you was talking to me a little bit. But it was fun being around that, being in that environment, being around all those people, just coming in and doing what we do.
Okay, now do you remember what I told you in that moment about your Rookie of the Year? Do you remember what I told you?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he said I had his pick. He told me that.
What I said that? No.
Yes, he said that.
I did not say that. I said I was mad that you didn't wear that necklace on the shoot. That's what I was mad. I said because I really like that necklace. That's dope. What kind of necklace is that?
Heard you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's beautiful. But no. I think what you have done in the last little bit, keep finishing strong, because I know it's close between you and Mobley.
All right. Well, you don't need to lie, by the way, Scottie, and say that you had a good time with Richard. We all know that's not true. But our producer was fired up for this next part. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little bit of dino trivia. And I have to say, I had way too much fun learning about dinosaurs last night. Because, they play for the Raptors, the movie. All right, Scottie, do you know what the word dinosaur, do you know what it means?
No.
It means terrible lizard.
Terrible lizard.
Terrible lizard.
Okay.
Do you know? No clue. Do you know, Richard, and do not cheat, what dinosaur name means fast thief? Don't you dare. I can see you looking at the answer right now.
100% I know the answer, but we're just going to go. I'm going to guess and say, is it the Velociraptor?
Oh, my gosh, he's cheating, Scottie.
Yes.
That means fast thief. All right. How many claws did a Velociraptor have on each hand? Stop. How many does it have on each hand? Guess.
Probably say, I don't know, probably like 4 or 3. I don't know.
3.
I'll say probably 3.
You got it right. Yes, Scottie, thank you so much for joining us here on NBA Today. We will see you in the playoffs, and you're getting Richard's vote, but he doesn't have one.
I don't have a vote.
So he's going to start stumping for you, though. Thank you so much for joining us
here on NBA Today. If I had a vote, say it.
See?
If I had a vote.
There you go. Scottie, thank